All right, good evening and welcome to the Whoopsie Gringo podcast. I'm here today with two colleagues. So the three of us basically make up the entire second to third base line of the early 90s Braves. We have Brian, who we consider the Mark Lemke or Little Mr. October. Brian, hello.
Hello, hello.
All right. Sitting right in the middle is the Jeff Blauser of us, Michael.
What's up?
And I'm holding down the third base line, the Terry Pendleton of the podcast, Chris. Today we're going to talk to Michael, mainly our expert, and Brian about basically recent events. So let's see. Brian, you want to start out with what exactly we're going to kind of talk about, what the recent event it is?
Yeah, I guess what's kind of been on my mind and everybody else's mind is all these like attacks that are kind of going on, amongst other things. And did y'all see what was going on over there in England, in London, specifically today with that bridge with the guy? I think what he just kind of drive over those people and start stabbing people. Did y'all see what happened with that?
Yeah, I was actually hanging out with a few of my friends this weekend, and they're both, one's from Scotland and the other one is from England proper. And they were kind of explaining to me the whole thing and just how the whole country now is, just kind of worried. I mean, we've obviously gone through it as Americans during the September 11th and stuff like that. And it's hard to exactly understand the reasons for it, and I think that's way too deep to get into. But I think whenever you have a situation like this, I think a fun thing to kind of look at, to kind of take your mind. Obviously, nothing's fun about it. Is just conspiracies that surround it, correct?
Yeah, I would agree. No, it's definitely awful, and like you said, to get into it would be depressing and just very, very deep, but awful that's happening. But there also comes the conspiracy theories that surround these weird or awful events for sure. And I know Michael loves those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always been into like more outside of the earth conspiracy theories, especially studying science and stuff like that. But we were talking to Michael, and we thought it would be fun to get him on and to talk about some of these conspiracy theories people have with the media, and even mainly the media. I think that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Michael, the first conspiracy theory that you were telling us about is something called what is it called?
Crisis actors.
A crisis actor. So obviously there was just a crisis, and we're not saying that this new crisis has crisis actors, because I haven't seen any evidence of that. But yeah, there was a crisis, and we know what a crisis is, and we know what actors are. So can you explain what a crisis actor is?
So after many nights of boredom on YouTube, going down those loopholes and stuff, there's all kinds of videos to talk about people and like false flags and like things that I think most of the things that have crisis actors, that people say have crisis actors, I think things that actually happen, but people that participate in crisis actors are like help exaggerate it to the point of it making it more of like an impact on the media and stuff, to give people more like a visual approach to it. As like an example, as in like if you're watching CNN and you see someone got shot or something, obviously that's going to be sad to you. But if you actually see an image of like at the scene or a video at the scene, it's going to impact you way more. So that's like where it begins, a lot of it.
So it's like the ain't nobody got time for that lady, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm associating with.
Yeah, that's a point, I guess.
So we can have dope internet memes. That's why we have crisis actors. That makes sense. I like it.
No, when I first heard about these whole crisis actor things, I think the biggest one, or one of the more famous ones in recent history, was the whole Sandy Hook massacre, and awful situation, obviously. Michael has talked to me a few times about these things and seems to be somewhat of a believer, or at least has some doubt that it's not necessarily exactly how these things went down. And I think that's kind of where the paranoia of all these things kind of started taking place. Michael, would you agree with that?
Yeah. The way I just look at it as, I don't believe a lot of things the government says. Just for a lot of reasons. I think I'm very paranoid when it comes to like just anything to do with media, obviously, like in the past and especially nowadays. And I feel like the whole Sandy Hook thing just is awful. Like, and I'd hope that it wasn't as bad as they made it seem. But it's just a lot of weird things that happened like on the news that day. Just like a lot of different perspectives that like didn't add up. And it was just kind of creepy.
Are you gonna give an example of that?
So I watched this video, and I don't know if this is true. Obviously, people can edit stuff
Yeah.
and make it look the way that you want it to look because I didn't have the raw footage. But just like weird stuff, like one really weird example going back to crisis acting was the stuff with like families and stuff that they had said were victims. That like they had videos of like this one guy. I can actually show y'all a picture of it. I have it on here, but this one guy, supposedly his daughter had died. Before he was going on the news, he had like a moment where he was like breathing really heavy, like he was getting into character. It was really strange. And the video guy that was talking actually pulled up this like website. It was like a group of actors, I guess, and his profile was on there. Like he was like part of this like acting guild thing. Like
And he was supposed to be like the dad of one of the kids that died.
Yeah, and he came on the news and he was like, oh, very upset. He was just crying like uncontrollably. But like there was a video that someone I guess had taken that wasn't part of the media of him before that, and he was like completely fine. He was laughing, joking around. He started like breathing really heavy, like he was getting into character. And then it like immediately he started getting really sad and started crying and stuff. It was just really weird. And like I don't know if the whole Actors Guild thing was true, but it was really fishy. But let me pull up what I was trying to say. But it was just weird.
So my question, I guess, to both of you is: so say it does exist, which I kind of think it's who's paying them? Is it through the government to get maybe like people to I remember Sandy Hook and all this stuff. It was like, to get more gun control. That was the big thing. Of course, that never happened. But is it is it the government, or is it like the news agencies that want? I mean, we have a 24-hour news cycle. We gotta cover it.
All right, so here's a video. Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're fine.
So this is a 6-year-old daughter had died. This is on, I can't tell in the bottom right, but I'm pretty sure it was on like a local news channel, like I guess in the Connecticut area. Okay. But he's walking up to speak, and his daughter had just died, and he's like laughing and says, he says, "You ready to start?" And he starts breathing all weird, like he's getting into character.
He looks like one of the Manning brothers.
Yeah.
I'll say Drew Brees, but
isn't that weird though?
Drew Brees. Yeah, I mean,
and then he immediately is in character.
But like, I don't know. I just think with those kind of things, man. Like and you don't know what was said to him. You don't know if someone in the crowd gave him some kind of sign, like "we support you." He's maybe smiling for that, and then, or maybe the opposite. Maybe as soon as he gets up to speak, the whole thing kind of hits him. Maybe he sees the sign. Maybe he sees a little kid in the crowd. I mean,
and I totally agree with you. I think. I hope it's not. Like, I hope that the government is not that sick to fake something like this. I don't want to believe that. I just think the things I've seen on YouTube were just made me like really curious. I thought it was really interesting.
I saw this thing with crisis actors, and it's kind of like where people are claiming that they reuse them. So you'll see people in certain events. I know there was one in the
up here.
Yeah, the girl right here.
Yeah, so she was Adam Lanza was the shooter at Sandy Hook. Right. And then I forgot what James Foley was, but it was another crisis, but she's like on CNN as a former classmate.
I think it was in Boston bombing, maybe.
Yeah, and then she's here, James Foley's sister, and it's like, it looks like the same person. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Which that one doesn't look that similar, honestly. There's some better ones. I got like,
that's a huge chin.
Yeah, there's like this guy, the guy that like lost his legs. He supposedly looks just like
there's the Cowboy Tico.
Wait, where?
Cowboy Tico, man.
But yeah, like there's like an army guy looks just like him, supposedly. I don't know. And then like Adam Lanza, the lawyer was the same person that was a shooting, a kid in the Sandy Hook shooting.
Oh wow, for
Just
James Holmes.
Just
That was the
interesting.
dude. That was the dude that dressed up like the Joker, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like in this
A
one,
lot of ones with that one.
yeah, like the Aurora Theater shooting, and then the Sandy Hook, and then the Boston bombing. Like it looks like the same girl.
All three.
It's just weird.
I think they look close, but I don't know, man.
I think with these kind of things, and I've heard this quote before, like with extraordinary claims, you need extraordinary evidence, right? And I just don't think with these crisis actors that it's necessarily extraordinary evidence. Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, people act weird. I think it's a combination of similar looking people and a lot of evidence or sometimes doesn't line up. But I think that's also the type of media that we have today where they're trying to get the first story out. They're trying to get the first thing out. So sometimes facts don't necessarily line up. But I think there's a lot of misinformation that the media puts out there, maybe on purpose, maybe not, because they just put out whatever they hear because they want to be the first to get out. And that kind of adds to these conspiracy theories because the information isn't always 100% correct, or doesn't always 100% line up with what we would want.
Right, and
Yeah.
then we have so much
Or with-
information now that, like, you know, it can be so construed sometimes of how they want to do it as well.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
here's something as well. It's
I
a
don't know.
they had on 9/11, on the London bombings when they blew up the train terminal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what the Norway Oslo attacks are, but Sandy Hook, Boston Marathon, San Bernardino, all these like weirdly things, like the government had a test, like a drill,
Right.
and this is like proven, like you could go on it was like one of the military websites. I did it myself, and that's really weird. But like on 9/11, there was a drill for a hijacked aircraft.
All right.
And on Sandy Hook, there was a drill for a school shooting. It's just
See,
really weird.
I would have like an easier time believing that the government would plan, which that sounds kind of awful, an attack or carry out an attack than to actually hire like civilians to pretend that these attacks are happening.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they could be not civilians. They could just be like CIA agents or something like that.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean,
But then-
now that a lot of stuff's coming out about what they did in like the 70s and stuff like that, I think it's a
Well,
little bit more
and,
believable.
And there's other conspiracies we could definitely go into with Kennedy and the Bay of Pigs, that whole situation where the CIA came to him, and this is also you can find online, where they want to have this thing where they can call some kind of attack to put themselves into a war.
Right.
But I guess that's a whole other conspiracy theory for a whole other day.
Right.
As crisis acting, I don't know. I was a crisis actor one time.
Yeah. How was that? What happened there? How did you become a crisis actor?
Well, it was back in 2007 or 2008.
Uh-huh.
It was at our school campus, and the nurses were having to like train to plan for these different things, kind of like a mock disaster type thing.
Okay.
And I had to pretend to have like this broken arm, and I was laying on the ground. I thought I did a pretty good job acting as a crisis. So I guess crisis acting does exist to some extent, right?
Yeah. So you were acting out. I remember you were a fake Costa Rican one time when you were in Brazil too.
I mean, I've been a lot of fake people a lot of time,
Yeah.
but I did do. Because I guess because that stuff does exist too. I mean, you do have to prepare people, but everyone understands that those events are hypothetical. It's not true.
Right. No, exactly.
Um,
And you're not trying to pass it off as serious either. So
Yeah,
I think,
right.
I mean, my personal opinion on crisis actors is there's a couple things. First of all, I don't really believe in it because I think that, like we were saying, people just get in weird situations and act weird, and a lot of people look alike. Like let's be honest, a lot of people look alike. So that could be part of it. But if it did happen, I would just be really interested to know, like, the whole point of it happening. Is it to make hysteria even more? But at the same time, if you're a large government, do you want hysteria? Like, if I'm in charge, I don't want the people to be going crazy over something. I'd rather just pass it off and brush it under the table, I guess.
But
Yeah.
I guess it's the agenda that you're trying to push too, whether it's gun control or news distraction as well. There's been tons of things where media has almost been scripted to talk about a certain event. And while this event's going on, the government can be doing, bombing Syria or doing something on this side of the world where everyone's focused on the tragedy of the events.
Yeah.
And that's where I believe that maybe, it's probably likely, and there's evidence to support other theories, conspiracy theories, where events are staged, but as far as people acting, I don't know. Like, it would be, I think this would just be so hard to cover up.
During Sandy Hook, there was I think Obama did one of the biggest drone strikes ever.
Yeah. Maybe
strange.
Maybe CNN's ratings are down because they have normal people, so they just want to get like professionals so they compete with Netflix.
Yeah.
I think I heard Dave Chappelle sign in with CNN to be a crisis actor. I'd watch it.
I think I should. I've experience.
Yeah, like you got some experience. You could do it, right?
Once fake broken arm.
Fake a broken arm. You faked to be Costa Rican one time.
I think a lot of things. Hey, well, I don't know. I also believe that the whole reusing people, wouldn't that be so obvious?
Yeah. I was about to say that. That's the part that always keeps me grounded with this kind of stuff. And like the one thing, there's two reasons why. One reason is I think it's very not my place to say something like that because I don't know and I don't want to offend people that had loved ones in it. So that's why I never really talk about it to people saying I've never told anyone that I absolutely believe it because I don't. It's a theory.
Well, and like I said,
interesting.
Extraordinary claims, you need extraordinary evidence, right? So
yeah, exactly. But another thing is too, like I don't see how our government could be that stupid to make.
Maybe that's what they did on purpose.
Yeah,
make you doubt that.
That it's even a theory. Maybe they just don't pay well. Maybe it's like two people that would take the job, right? Like it's like one of those seminars that you go to, like when you're looking for a job, and then like there's like 1 million people in the room, and then they're like, "You're gonna sell knives," except for that dude. You're gonna be a crisis actor, but you make the same.
By the way, that girl also kind of
looks like who?
Looks like the girl from Big Bang Theory.
Oh man.
Well,
that's a reality show, so I would be shocked if she was there. So,
are there any theories of like weird stuff that doesn't really add up, or like are kind of confusing, or there's people that look similar that you thought was the same or wasn't? I don't know.
Okay, so I have one that I don't even know how I remember founding about it. I think it's like the Mandela effect or something like that. But it's basically like you remember stuff differently than what it is, and then there's not really any evidence to fit what you remember. So it could be like a social consciousness thing. Like I guess the one thing that I remember the most was in the Star Wars movies. Everybody, like the big line that Darth Vader says to his child.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I don't really get what you're saying real quick. So you remember.
I'm gonna tell you like a example.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So it's basically like the collective conscious, like most people remember something, but then they go back and see it, and then it's not how the collective sees it. So in Star Wars, the big line that Darth Vader says to Luke Skywalker is, "Luke, I am your father." But that's not in the movie.
What's in the movie then?
It's like, "No, I am your father." So very similar, but okay, no, because he's gonna kill him.
I'd like to hear the actual, like the people that. Okay, so this is on knowyourmeme.com. It's pretty effective website. It says the Mandela effect refers to a phenomenon in which a large number of people share false memories of past events, referred to as confabulation in psychiatry. Some have speculated that the memories are caused by parallel universes spilling into our own, but others explain the phenomenon as a failure of collective memory, which is what most people say.
Do you have any other examples of this?
I have many.
Can you pull? Because I'm still kind of confused by this whole thing. So it's pretty much something that's common belief that everyone remembers something that's not necessarily something that happened.
Dude, I think the biggest one is that I remember seeing. If you can pull it up, the Fruit Loops.
Yeah, it's right here, actually.
Fruit
Yeah.
Loops.
So here's some brands.
It's Fruit
So-
Loops.
Yeah, you think it's spelled fruit, but the actual
Spelling is FROOTLOOPS.
Okay,
Captain Crunch is Captain Crunch, not Captain Crunch.
I knew that.
Cupo noodles is cup noodles. It's not Cupo noodles. It was never Cupo noodles.
Like, look,
That Chick-fil-A one is obvious. Kit Kat doesn't have a dash. OxyClean is spelt with an I, not a Y.
the
These are
Bernstein
all like
Bears.
logos. Like there's a lot of different ones, like more interesting ones with like videos and stuff. These are just logo things. But yeah. It's just interesting.
Wait, I just found something too. Maybe Michael, you can pull this up. I'm gonna send you the link real quick on here. So I guess I kind of get it. Things that you didn't really necessarily
Right.
remember correctly could be just a parallel universe.
Yeah, like
I think-
at some point
Michael, did you see that link I sent?
it like switched over, I guess, and we entered a different one, and I guess it was like a glitch in the Matrix, I guess. So
So he realizes, where's your father? Luke, I'm your father.
yeah, it's no, I'm your father. Not Luke, I am your father.
Michael, did you see that link?
And then they have like Mandela effects, like proof. So then they'll go back, and this dude found the Bernstein Bears is spelled the way that he remembers it, not the way we have it now.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's really proving, but it's just proving that. So to link it to people getting paid, crisis actors. You know, it's like maybe you remembered something wrong. So maybe when you do see that actor, you're like, wait a minute, that looks like the other actor. But in the end, your brain is just telling you, like, okay, well, they kind of look alike, you know?
Right. I
Stuff
just
like
saw where the name comes from.
from
the
Nelson
name-
Mandela.
Yeah, the name of the theory comes from many people feeling certain that they could remember Nelson Mandela dying while he was in prison back in the 80s. Contrary to what many thought, Mandela's actual death was on December 5th, 2013, despite some people claiming to remember seeing clips of his funeral on TV.
Yeah, so I guess that's when it started.
Interesting.
So it's pretty interesting. It's kind of weird, but when you start looking at them, you're like, look, was it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
It's and the city, right? Is it?
Yeah, it's and the city.
In
Dude,
the
maybe
city.
It's in the city. It's not. Oh no, it's and the city, not in the city.
it's and the city.
And the city.
That,
Yes,
I thought it was Sex in the City.
So this one says that the song Queen
Uh-huh.
ends of the world, but it's actually
No, it's over because we are the champions.
of the world.
No, there's
not
no.
how it ends.
There's no of the world. It's just we are the champions. That's it.
Really?
Go down. People, Monopoly Man. Which one's right?
The monocle, right?
No, he doesn't have a monocle.
What?
No, man, that's the thing.
Not even in the
Weird.
game?
No, in the game he doesn't have a monocle.
That's weird.
Yeah, Pikachu.
This says perhaps they're just confusing him with Mr. Peanut because Mr. Peanut has one.
I always get my people with top hats confused. Abraham Lincoln, he had a monocle, right? I don't know anything about Pokemon.
This is like the most. This is the one that like kickstarted the entire theory.
Yeah. Is it
Everyone
the
thought it was the
Bernstein or the Bernstein Bears?
I thought it was Berenstein. Berenstein Bears. Berenstein Bears.
With an E, right?
Yeah.
Me too.
And
I
people
read
thought that it was
a lot when I was
that
a
it was
kid.
changed, but there's actually like a picture. I think I have it right here. It's a picture of a video that says Steen,
Steen, yeah, right there. I see
like on the VHS tape that was like a long time ago. It says Steen, the Bernstein or the Bernstein.
No, that's Steen. Stein.
Oh, yeah, it was Steen. Yeah, Steen. It's fine.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
So it's just.
I mean,
weird.
we just need to
Yeah.
dig up Jane and Mike Bernstein because I'm sure it's named after them, and ask them.
there's I'm your father.
Yeah, there we go. It's not Luke, I'm your father. It's just Luke.
So I can get subtitles. This
Well,
video is probably too old to do
Yeah, don't worry,
subtitles.
don't worry about it.
I mean, we all know it.
Yeah, but we don't need 4 minutes to
No.
Yeah.
Keep going down, Mike.
Sinbad? Wait.
Shazam. I thought Shazam was Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq was Shazam. Yeah, everybody knows that. Come on. I've known Shaq forever.
I was about to say that it was really Sinbad the whole time. That was like,
Oh, dude. All right, if it would have been Sinbad, that would have been.
That looks so bad right there.
Yeah. Does he have a tail or no?
He does not.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a tail. So
That one's so. That one's. Everyone knew that. That's dumb.
Chick-fil-A is not spelled chick like
I thought
chick is.
that would be like chic, wouldn't it? Chic filet.
That one's
so posh.
But in the go back up to Chick-fil-A.
Wait, CP3O isn't gold? What?
Wait, I'm still confused about Chick-fil-A. What am I missing here?
Oh.
They're saying that it's not spelled CHICK. The people thought it was spelled CHIC and CHIK. I always knew it was spelled Chick-fil-A the right way. So
But that the sign has a K in it.
yeah,
Then why is it spelled like that there? Because that's just what someone wrote.
Yeah, there.
yeah. Someone's just saying this is what people think it is.
I think that's what I thought.
Yeah, I just remember the cows, man. I don't remember anything else.
Anyways, I guess I got to get the point. So it's kind of mind blowing for some of those, but some of those I kind of get it. Weird.
Right. Yeah, it's just awkward, right?
Yeah.
So Mona Lisa is smiling now, but she used to be emotionless. That one.
A dash. I don't know.
I thought there was a dash too, man. So
There's no dash in Kit Kat.
Oh, that's a great picture.
yeah, but Sinbad was not Shazam.
It is.
Yeah.
He was house guest.
Oh yeah, this is the one. Okay, so shout out to my friend Carlos. I was at Carlos's house, and they were trying to convince me of this, and I was being like a skeptic. I don't believe it. I think it's just interesting, but this is the thing they got me on because I didn't believe them, and I went back and looked at the VHS tape, and it says. So Brian, before I'm gonna ask you this. Did you read what it just said?
No,
Okay, so in Forrest Gump, I know you love Forrest Gump.
I do.
Forrest Gump, when he's with that lady, and he says the box of chocolates quote. Well, tell me what he says. What you think he says?
Life is always like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think it's life is like a box of chocolates. You always know.
Yeah. No, I just life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you can get.
You said it like super
Well,
southern.
Whoops.
You are both wrong.
What was it?
It says,
He says it in the movie.
says
He talks about chocolates.
Wait, so it's life. He actually says life was like a box of chocolates.
life is like a box of chocolates.
That's
What does he
said.
say?
Wait,
No, he says it says right here. Life was like a box of chocolates. So he's talking in the past tense, not in the current tense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it. And I watched I put up my phone on Netflix and it said was, and I said these people changed it. Like
So you went
That's
back to
everyone.
look at the tape.
I went and found a VHS tape and it says was, and it like freaked me out. I was like, whoa, that's weird.
My question is, how did you find a VHS tape player? That's more.
I think it's called a VCR.
Fuck off. How'd you find a VCR? That's what I want to know. Like, I could find
My house.
Your house
Yep.
still has. All right, we gotta have a podcast about that, man.
We live in the past.
Yeah. All right.
Never
Yeah.
says- never
All right,
says-
well that's interesting. I guess public that just kind of just shows how influenced people can be just by a public opinion about things too. One other thing. Interesting. Forrest Gump one kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, that's
As well
the,
as the
one,
Star-
the one that got me too. I was like,
Mine was Kit Kat, man. I've eaten a Kit
And
Kat.
Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, I remember reading.
Right?
I might have some of those in my parents' house. I remember my mom read those. I loved reading those, man. Those are great. So
here's one.
yeah, mirror on the wall. She never says that. What does she say?
Magic mirror on the wall.
Oh, that is a lie.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. And that's in the Disney Vault, man. We can't even watch that anymore. They're gonna take it away. I'm waiting for the Blu-ray collectible to come out.
Jiffy peanut butter doesn't exist. I don't know.
What is it? Jif? JIF.
I guess if you cannot see the video and you're listening to it another time on the actual podcast,
Yeah,
you need to go check some of these out because they're pretty interesting.
it
You
is.
just kind of talk about things.
Wait,
Um,
Fruit Loops and Fruit FROOTLOOPS. Well, I don't think they're real fruit, so I think spelling it not the real fruit way would be even better, right?
you can't call it. You just spell Cheez-Its like without calling it
Yeah.
cheese.
Yeah, without calling it cheese.
Anyways,
Yeah, these are interesting.
215 people thought it was WTF.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
what do you?
Fourth, I think it's cute.
Yeah, do
Okay.
cute. Yeah, let's vote cute. All 5 people.
Aw,
Oh,
you gotta sign up for
man.
it.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's do it. Sign Brian up. Sign Brian up. All right. So all right. Let's just wrap it up. So I'm gonna give you guys both like a minute to talk. So Brian, what
Yeah.
do you think about people getting paid to be crisis actors?
I think that it would be extraordinarily risky to do as a government. I think to claim that is very rude and disrespectful to the people that are actually going through the tragedies. So I don't believe it, although I do believe we should question the government, and I don't trust them. But as far as crisis actors, I think, like I said before, that's an extraordinary claim, and I just don't see the extraordinary evidence to support it.
All right, Michael, crisis actors for you.
Like I said originally, I think these things actually happen. I don't think they're a scam. I think obviously something happened, but I think sometimes the government may have construed like to make it more exaggerated, because to make it not more believable, but just to make it more of a distraction than it really is. Not. It should be a distraction because it's very tragic, but I think the media does a good job of like making it way more distracting than it should be, so the government could do things like, I think like 9/11, they had they did some like attack, some giant bombing, I think, when the media wasn't like looking at them, and like things today, like when Trump recently said "kafefi" or whatever, they did that was to get away from a really big thing that was going on with Trump and the whole like Comey thing and stuff. It's like all the attention is going away from stuff that is really important. So the media construed some like this idea that sometimes it's humorous, sometimes it's very heartbreaking, and I think it takes away from people's focus.
All right, follow-up question, because this is who's to say, like, is it really the media's responsibility to tell the truth, or is that just something that we were used to seeing? What do you think, Brian? Like, I mean, why do they have to be true? It can be like a color commentary, like when you're watching a basketball game. Like, oh, he's the greatest of the generation. Well, why can't we say that about media, right? Like,
Right. I think the media is there for a reason, and journalism at the heart of it is to inform us and to keep us informed and to bring out the truth. And I think if there are things like crisis actors, or they are bending the truth, or just straight up lying, like now we live in this whole world of they're bending the truth, whatever it's called. I think it's definitely there. And we should hold them accountable when they're not have bias, to not misinform us, because if that's the case, then no one's never gonna know what to believe in. We get all confused and get all upset because no one knows that truth anymore.
makes sense. So, Michael, what do you think? Do you think that the media's job now is to make its stockholders and shareholders money or tell you the truth?
I think it's 100% should be the truth because I've learned in my journalism classes I've actually taken that there's elements of journalism that you're taken under oath that you're supposed like to be a journalist is to say that your job is you have like 3 goals is to make sure the government doesn't get too much power, make sure the government doesn't lie, and to tell the citizens like to inform the citizens of wrongdoings. And I think CNN and a lot of other things and MSNBC, Fox News, on every side, I think it's important for the people to know what they're watching isn't news. Like you can have a show where you show all kinds of things entertainment wise, like all these things like opinions and stuff. But to say you're the news, I don't think you should be allowed to do that because you're lying when you're not saying things that you know is 100% fact.
All right, but like, I mean, I think they do. This is just my opinion. I think they do make it pretty obvious that they're not the news. Like when you read them, they're a political commentator. They're a commentator. They're also not a journalist. Like you said, they have to take a journalist thing. But like, I don't know what's his name. The guy that just got fired, Bill Riley.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, dude was on like Access Edition before or Inside Edition before he did his job. Like, and then we had. Remember Geraldo was working for CNN? Like, those are just personalities. Like, you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, Chris. And I think that that's where we also fail as citizens to keep them accountable and to inform ourselves through different media sources. And when I know on both sides of the story, whether all they look at is Fox News or all they're looking at is one news source, that's where you become misinformed, and that's what creates the hysteria because the media is what you say it is. Now it is commentary. Now we look to comedians, John Oliver, Jon Stewart, those guys to inform us.
Right.
And I think that's where we also have failed as citizens. We stopped being so critical in our thinking, and we just kind of blindly listen to whatever kind of agrees with what we agree with.
I mean, it's just kind of going back to the days of the monarchy when you had like the king to tell you the news. And then he had like his scribes to write the news. And then he had the gesture that was like the only person that could make fun of the king and get away with it. But he was also telling news too, you know?
Right.
Like it's still basically the same thing. I mean, obviously, I don't really have an opinion. I don't watch too much news anyhow.
Right.
But yeah, I do think. Go ahead.
I think you're 100% right that they aren't politicians. But the thing is, like, my professor, he used to be like an editor on like some crazy big newspaper in the Washington, and he over and over and over again pounded into our heads that these people on TV are not journalists. They have journalists that work for them, but they are not journalists. And of course, people should know that, and they shouldn't listen to everything they say. But some people don't realize that, and some of it's their fault, and some of it's not, because when you turn on a TV and you expect to learn something and you see underneath their little name that says blah, 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 CNN correspondent, you're automatically, if you're not informed of stuff, you're going to think, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. And that's what the issues are, I think.
Well, maybe that's the same thing. Oh, it comes right back. Maybe that's the same thing with crisis actors. It's like they're not really the people that were involved, but they know the people involved. They just do a better job, right?
Right.
Yeah. That might be it. Maybe that's it. Like I look. I know my kid didn't die at Sandy Hook, but I know the guy next door. Also, so I wanted to say one thing about my crisis actor opinion. Number one, I think that you guys are saying government. That could be the news too. Like
Sure.
they've got jobs to do. Get a good interview, it goes viral, and you're good. Number two. You would have to pay them a lot of money to not be like, I'm a crisis actor.
No one's ever. Don't worry.
Yeah. And then number three. So when you have like a shooting at a school or something like that, like you know the people that go to your school for the most part. Like I understand. Like yeah, my high school was like 700 people, but somebody would be like, "Wait a minute, that's not Bill's dad." Like, you know, like, or
No, I agree.
or on the news, it's like, Janie Munster died, and then, you're like, you're a teacher at the school. You're like, wait, there ain't no Janie Munster at this school. Who's that kid? Like, I've never seen that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand it's a tragedy, but we're like 10 years later. You would think you would have a teacher go through and be like, oh yeah, that is Bill's dad there. Like he did go to the school. Like, when you say like a 4-year-old died, okay, so somebody's teaching the 4-year-old. Somebody's met those parents, I would assume. I mean, unless schools drastically changed from the last time I've known it, But don't you guys agree?
No,
I agree, for sure.
I have a point that defends what you're saying.
Okay.
The guy in the video that I watched, he was making a point to say, well, actually, he kind of wasn't, but I was like, he went way too far with it. But like news stations, like during the Sandy Hook shooting, they were initially saying that there was 4 gunmen in that. They had a helicopter following this one guy running through the woods that was a supposed gunman. Like they basically news channels, they try to like get this crazy information so you go turn it on to them so they can get ad revenue. So they're just gonna keep going crazy and crazy and crazy. And then like when it's all over, they can be like, oh, that was speculation. We didn't actually know that wasn't true. When they absolutely knew it wasn't true. They just followed it anyways.
Well, man, if somebody starts shooting around where I'm at, I'm gonna be running too, like
yeah.
And if it's through the woods, it's through the woods, and like, look at that guy, man. He must have shot 4 people. Like, no, dude, I just heard the gunshots. I'm just running. So that's my thing on that. As for the Mandela effect, I think it's like cool to like. I think it's like looking at one of those paintings that are all crazy, and then you stare at them for like an hour if you're me, because my eyes don't work right, and then it looks different and you're like, oh wow, a unicorn. So like you look through that, and at the same time, like I'm not dead set on my memory of the Bernstein or the Bernstein Bears. I'm not like, no, I remember when my mom was reading that, she was always like the Bernstein Bears. I remember it dead perfect, but it is cool to think about,
And look them up. We'll talk about those as they come along.
Yeah.
Do we close it out here?
Yeah, well, I want to talk about important happenings this week.
Okay.
On Thursday and Friday of our future as Americans.
No,
it's Thursday and Sunday.
Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah. Thursday and Sunday.
U.S. men versus Trinidad and Tobago, and then on Sunday, U.S. men versus Mexico at Azteca.
I'm not going to the game. My parents are coming in town, so I won't be able to go. They come in that day. It's supposed to be an afternoon game, and then they changed it to night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
My friend Carlitos is going.
Your friend Carlitos?
Yeah, he just flew down there last Sunday. He's gonna go with his family.
Cool.
So what are your predictions?
I think we definitely need. 4 points would be ideal. Obviously, 6 points would be the best.
Right.
If we could get 3 from Trinidad, which I think is necessary.
And that's at home. That's at home.
It's at home. We have to win that game. That's a must win. And if we can get away with a draw or win, obviously, we're looking pretty good. It's going to be hard. We've only taken points away from Mexico at Mexico once.
Right.
And we were there, actually. I don't know if you remember the game. That was pretty fun.
I was there. We were there.
105,000 people just shouting. It's a hard place to play, man. But we'll see what happens against Venezuela. We didn't look amazing, and the little friend that we had this past weekend. But hope we can rise up at home versus Trinidad and get some magic. 3 points on Thursday, 1 point on Sunday is what I'm hoping for. What are you thinking?
Hopefully we don't rise up like the Falcons did not.
Well, like
rise up for half the game. Rise up for half the game. So where is the Trinidad game? Is it
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's in California.
I could see that.
Just based
I watched Pulsic's goal. Pulsic against Venezuela. I didn't actually get to stream the game, so I didn't get to see them play Venezuela.
It's in Colorado, the game.
Colorado. Oh, I like that. Good venue.
Our city.
And that's good because they'll kind of be used to the altitude. I know there it's 1 mile. Here it's 2 miles. So at least they'll be semi-adjusted.
Right.
But
Right.
so I think that Trinidad is a win. I think we'll win. I know Trinidad's going to play hard at home. I can't see them beating us unless we just come out flat on defense and let them get a goal or two early. And then they just sit back and don't let us score. Watching Mexico's had some losses in their friendlies. They're doing like a U.S. tour right now. I saw them play Croatia not too long ago. But Chicharito's playing out of his mind. So he's now the leading goal scorer in Mexican history.
Gross.
But I'm interested to see if the new coach, the new old coach.
Juan Carlos Osorio?
No, for U.S. Sorry.
Bruce Arena.
Bruce Arena. If he's going to play to attack Mexico or if he's just going to play a little bit back against Mexico.
I think you got to play defensive at Azteca.
You think you have to play defensive at Azteca? I agree. I know the time that we went and they took that point, they played super defensively. So I could see them. I see them losing to Mexico though. I see it.
Yeah,
I see it. My prediction would be over Trinidad 2-0 to Mexico 2-1, and that's probably a late goal by the U.S. or an early goal. I know that really breaks it there, but like within the first 15 minutes or the last 10 minutes. Right. Mexico's just playing really good with their coach. They're
Osorio's he's doing well. They're buying into what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
And Chicharito was coming off the bench in the friendlies. They weren't really, they were playing exactly like they should for friendlies. Michael, what do you think?
I think it will be a hard win at home. I think it will be either 2-1 or 3-2. I think it'll be a really good game.
Oh, wow.
And I think in Mexico, get blown out 3-0.
Oh,
I don't have
wow.
much confidence.
No.
I think Bruce Arena, his squad is too MLS heavy, and I think he's makes really bad decisions when it comes to subs. Like for example, he always subs in like Jordan Morris, which is good for the MLS standards, but not for when you're playing a team like Mexico.
Right.
Yeah, we're also going to be healthier these qualifying games than we were the last.
Is Bobby Wood going to play?
Yeah.
I think Bobby Wood will be back as well. So
he is. He was in the friendly.
Yeah, he was in the friendly, so he should be playing. So I think we'll be healthy.
I love the squad we have. The squad's perfect. Is everyone I would choose. I just don't think. I think, especially if somehow we blow out Trinidad and Tobago, like 4-0, 3-0 at home, I think they'll go in to Mexico and just either get blown out or I'm hoping for a great game, but I just don't have a lot of confidence in this team right now.
It's a night game in Azteca too. They're gonna be loud.
It's gonna be insane.
So I'll watch it from the airport. So
All right, boys.
All right, before we go, let's do the new thing. Michael,
New thing.
you have it?
Oh yeah, I got it right here.
All right, so we made this random wheel, and I made the topics while I was watching Dave Chappelle stand up. So
Can you make me the main person?
Yeah. So I made this. We're gonna add more to it, but we're gonna spin it, and then I'll kind of explain it because I made it, and then we'll talk about it. And this is what we're gonna do to sign out today. And then we'll maybe give you like 45 seconds or something. I'm not gonna like.
Brian, make me the main person.
You're the main person.
You're the main person.
I am? Okay. Sorry.
So we have this wheel. It has things like animals, technology, celebrities, all you can eat buffets,
Oh.
soccer.
Where
were you? All right. So this is, I'm just going to ask when something happened, and you have to explain where you were and what you happened. All right, so we're going to go, since we're on soccer, we'll talk about soccer. What about when Brazil got destroyed by Germany in the World Cup? Brian, where were you?
I was in Brazil watching the game with Brazilians.
Ooh, that's not good.
It was not that fun, actually. It was pretty sad. I was expecting a big night of partying and rejoicing and celebration.
Oh, Oh, that's sad.
And then also, everyone just kept asking if I was German after that game. That was the only time in my life I've ever been confused with someone that's not from the United States.
All
And
right.
I was, and that's where I was.
All right. I like it. Michael, you're going to spin the wheel too. Next.
All right.
All right. Michael, spin the wheel. All right. I hope you get old school sponsors. All right, Michael. So think about a modern day product and then think about a historical figure that would sponsor said product.
Hmm.
Like, I personally think Abraham Lincoln and iPads would go perfect because he liked to read. I could just see him kicking it
iPad
under
or
a tree. iPad or eye patches. I think they had eye patches back then, though.
That's all I was gonna say.
I could see. I'm gonna go. Not as far back as you,
Okay.
but pretty far back. I'm gonna go Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt. I like it.
I could see
And what
him
would-
being the modern day Smokey the Bear.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I like it. So he's like just sitting at the park telling you to not throw your cigarettes on the ground.
Are he's smoking? Or he's someone smoking a cigarette and he walks over and just puts it out and then punches him in the face
I think Teddy Roosevelt will walk over and take their cigarette and smoke it.
and then blow smoke in their face.
And then just put it out on their face. All right. And then the last one, let's see what we get.
This is for you, Chris.
This is for me. All right. Brian, you can word the question.
Oh,
Conspiracy is
no.
great. That's shocking.
Okay, if we talked about conspiracies next, what would you want to talk about with that conspiracy, and what do you find most interesting? And give us one key fact about that conspiracy.
All right, so this actually surprised me. So one time I was talking to Kelly's, and I was telling her about Area 51 because I like Area 51. Like, I've been out to Nevada a whole bunch and stuff like that. I like Area 51, and she was like, "Wait, so your people know that you guys just have a secret military base and nobody does anything about it?" And I was like, "I'm sure you guys have your own." So I want to talk about like the Area 51s of other countries.
Ah,
cool.
Like, because have you ever heard of one?
I don't know. I don't think there's. I
think-
haven't heard of one in Colombia, but I'm sure there's got to be.
Yeah,
sure
or
there's
even
one.
especially like Area 51s are like third world countries or second world countries. Like, I'm in Mexico. I don't think there's an Area 51 in
Can
Mexico.
they call developing countries, please?
Huh?
No, nothing. Nothing.
I'm pretty sure North Korea's Area 51 is the entire country.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, does South Korea have an Area 51
I'm gonna find it.
or something like it? Something like it. So anyhow, that's my conspiracy. That's my conspiracy I want to talk about. All right, Michael, sign us out, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Whoopsie Gringo podcast. As always, follow us on Twitter. And subscribe to us on YouTube to learn more about when we make some other podcasts. Anyways, take it easy.